Hello everyone, today we're going to chat about the rhetorical precis. So what exactly is the rhetorical precis? Well, it's a four-sentence paragraph that records the essential rhetorical elements in a passage. It essentially combines summary and analysis in a succinct form. So let's check out each sentence one by one. The first sentence names the author, includes the genre and title of the work, as well as the date in parentheses, followed by a rhetorically accurate says verb, and then ends with a that clause containing the major assertion or the thesis statement of the work. You have to be certain that that first sentence includes the word that. Next up, sentence number 2. Sentence number 2 includes an explanation of how the author develops and/or supports the thesis noted in sentence number 1. You want to use chronological order, and any examples you use, you want to place them in parentheses. Remember, these examples should only be 2 to 3 word phrases. You do not want to use full sentences. Moving right along to sentence number 3. Sentence number 3 moves us from summary to analysis. Sentence 3 starts with a statement of the author's apparent purpose, followed by an in order to phrase. You must have those 3 words, in which you explain what the author wants the audience to do or feel as a result of reading the work. There should be a short quote or paraphrase section from the piece to prove your point. And finally, we move to sentence number 4, the last and final sentence of our précis. Sentence 4 includes a description of the intended audience and/or the tone relationship the author establishes with the audience. Sentence 4, all about audience. So those are the 4 sentences that make up the rhetorical précis. The first 2, summary. The last 2, analysis. In order to practice this process, we're going to go ahead and read a piece by Dave Barry called The Ugly Truth About Beauty, and then you'll be responsible for writing your own précis. If you're a man, at some point a woman will ask you how she looks. How do I look? She'll ask. You must be careful how you answer this question. The best technique is to form an honest yet sensitive opinion, then collapse on the floor with some kind of fatal seizure. Trust me, this is the easiest way out, because you will never come up with the right answer. The problem is that women generally do not think of their looks in the same way that men do. Most men form an opinion of how they look in 7th grade, and they stick to it for the rest of their lives. Some men form the opinion that they are irresistible stud muffins, and they do not change this opinion even when their faces sag and their noses bloat to the size of eggplants and their eyebrows grow together to form what appears to be a giant forehead-dwelling tropical caterpillar. Most men, I believe, think of themselves as average-looking. Men will think this even if their faces cause heart failure in cattle at a range of 300 yards. Being average does not bother them. Average is fine for men. This is why men never ask anybody how they look. Their primary form of beauty care is to shave themselves, which is essentially the same form of beauty care they give to their lawns. If, at the end of this 4-minute daily beauty regimen, a man has managed to wipe most of the shaving cream out of his hair and is not bleeding too badly, he feels that he has done all he can, so he stops thinking about his appearance and devotes his mind to more critical issues, such as the Super Bowl. Women do not look at themselves this way. If I had to express in 3 words what I believe most women think about their appearance, those words would be not good enough. No matter how attractive a woman may appear to be to others, when she looks at herself in the mirror, she thinks, woof. She thinks that at any moment, a municipal animal control officer is going to throw a net over her and haul her off to the shelter. Why do women have such low self-esteem? There are many complex psychological and societal reasons, by which I mean Barbie. Girls grow up playing with a doll proportioned such that if it were human, it would be 7 feet tall and weigh 81 pounds, of which 53 pounds would be bosoms. This is a difficult appearance standard to live up to, especially when you contrast it with the standard set for little boys by their dolls. Their action figures. Most of the action figures that my son played with when he was little were hideous looking. For example, he was very fond of an action figure, part of the He-Man series, called Buzz-Off, who was part human, part flying insect. Buzz-Off was not a looker, but he was extremely self-confident. You could not imagine Buzz-Off saying to the other action figures, "Do you think these wings make my hips look big?" But women grow up thinking they need to look like Barbie, which for most women is impossible. Although there is a multi-billion-dollar beauty industry devoted to convincing women that they must try. I once saw an Oprah show wherein supermodel Cindy Crawford dispensed makeup to the studio audience. Cindy had all these middle-aged women applying beauty products to their faces. She stressed how important it was to apply them in a certain way using the tips of their fingers. All the women dutifully did this, even though it was obvious to any sane observer that no matter how carefully they applied these products, they would never look remotely like Cindy Crawford, who is some kind of genetic mutation. I'm not saying that men are superior. I'm just saying that you're not going to get a group of middle-aged men to sit in a room and apply cosmetics to themselves under the instruction of Brad Pitt in hopes of looking more like him. Men would realize that this task was pointless and demeaning. They would find some way to bolster their self-esteem that did not require looking like Brad Pitt. They would say to Brad, "Oh yeah? Well, what do you know about lawn care, pretty boy?" Of course, many women will argue that the reason they become obsessed with trying to look like Cindy Crawford is that men, being as shallow as a drop of spit, want women to look that way, to which I have two responses. One, hey, just because we're idiots, that does not mean you have to be. And two, men don't even notice 97% of the beauty efforts you take anyway. Take fingernails. The average woman spends 5,000 hours per year worrying about her fingernails. I have never once, in more than 50 years of listening to men talk about women, heard a man say, she has a nice set of fingernails. Many men would not notice if a woman had upward of 4 hands. Anyway, to get back to my original point, if you're a man and a woman asks how she looks, you're in big trouble. Obviously, you can't say she looks bad, but you can't say she looks great because she'll think you're lying. Because she has spent countless hours with the help of the multi-billion-dollar beauty industry obsessing about the differences between herself and Cindy Crawford. Also, she suspects that you're not qualified to judge anybody's appearance. This is because you have shaving cream in your hair. Thank you so much for listening. Now, what I'd like you to do is open up a Google Doc and try and craft your own précis using the information provided you in this video. I would like it to be on the ugly truth about beauty, and we will talk about this in the next class. Thanks so much for staying with me. Have fun.